Hey guys, Beyblade here and welcome to my Let's Build series. So in this episode I'm going to be working on the custom walls and hopefully I got enough time for the windows. But I do want to apologise for the delay in getting this video out to you. I've just become a full-time dad, so juggling a full-time job, being a full-time parent and trying to get some time to play some games is it's a bit of a challenge, but I've managed to get this episode to you and hopefully you like what you see. With all that out of the way, let's just crack on with it. So before I build the windows, I want to get these walls finished. Now I'm going to be starting these slightly different. Before I used this edge piece to get a nice straight line and then fill across, but because I've got these roof pieces in, it just makes it for awkward placement. So what I'm going to do, and I'll do this quickly just to show you, I want to alternate between the 2 meter and 1 meter beams. I'll show you why in just a second, but what you want to achieve is a straight line of everything you build connecting up with these joints here. I'm going to build this all the way up and then sort of fill off to the side. Now the reason why I'm using these 1 meter beams is just a little bit easier to get this straight line going all the way up. And then once I've built all the way up, I want to replace those 1 meter beams by snapping on a 2 meter beam next to it, remove the 1 meter and then snap on another 2 meter beam. That just allows me to get that brickwork pattern sort of consistently up. Now I do have a few concerns with this, the first being how it's going to look at the edge there. I might get some of these beams clipped through the front and it might look a bit odd, but I could probably add a bit of detail, cover it up and make it look nice. Now if these beams were to stick out the side here, that would be a little bit more awkward to cover up, but I'm pretty sure I can find a fix for that. The biggest concern I think will be this centre sort of top section here. I want to get this walled up, but I'm a little bit concerned about the stability. Now the top here is green because I used the iron beams across here. So I'm sure that if I was to build up and connect to the top sort of fast enough, I shouldn't really have an issue, but until I've built it, I'm not going to know. Now with the back, I'm going to build this wall all the way up, but because of this chimney here, all the wood connected to it turns blue, so stability shouldn't really be an issue here, or at least I'm hoping. And then once I've got the walls built up, I can have a couple of big windows at the back and add some nice sort of feature windows at the front as well. So hopefully in the next scene I'll cut into a building that's fully walled and then we can work on our windows. Okay, so I finally got these walls built up. It was very tricky, it took about two and a half hours maybe, but my concerns were quite real. Got the clipping of the wooden beams, clipping through the front, also poking through the sides. Also, stability here was a bit of a nightmare. These few middle pieces kept breaking, so I had to extend some wooden beams going up either side here just to hold those few pieces in, and as a result I got a little bit of clipping through this side. Now looking at the back, I had no stability issues here, and that's because of the chimney breast. But I do have the clipping sort of on the side and in the front there. So if we have a look on the inside, as we walk in, I actually really like this look. I think it suits the build quite nice, and sort of the back wall looks really tidy from the inside. Now the front doesn't look too bad either. I quite like the shape, the way that sort of sinks in. But again, I got the clipping of the wooden beams sort of on the front and the sides there, so I'm going to have to address each of these things. So I think what I'll do is I will go through each of these little problems one by one with little fixes and hopefully make this looking really nice, and then we can bang out a few windows. So the first thing I want to address is the clipping of the wooden beam just there. Now I haven't got it this side, I mean there's a tiny little bit but you can barely see it. That's the one I want to address first. So if I go on in and it's these beams here that are clipping. Also from this side, I don't know if you can really see it on the screen, but I've got a little bit of the clipping there as well. So what I'll do is if I get the vertical wooden pole and zooming in, also holding shift, I want to put the cursor just below it and place one directly in front. Now if I come to the side so you can see this side of the pole, I basically want it right next to each other so it sort of pretty much blends in. Now once I've done that, it's just a case of placing one on top of the other, going all the way up, and it's actually a 1 meter pole just on the top there. So now I've done that, from the side it looks okay. I mean, it is clipping there, but it's hardly noticeable. What I can do is come to the front and if I select the hammer, making sure that the beam that's clipping through is highlighted, I can just destroy that one and also that one there. Now because the beam that I just added was clipping through the wooden beams holding the wall up, I shouldn't have an issue with stability. From the inside it looks okay, and from the outside there's no longer clipping of the beams, so that looks absolutely fine. Now to make it symmetrical, I'm going to do the same thing the other side. And there we go. I think it looks better on the inside, it's sort of proud. Also matches the fireplace there. Can't really notice the clipping on the sides here. And again, if I wanted to be very finicky, which I think I will, this tiny little piece that's clipping through, you know, I can't even highlight it, it's that small. But that was the piece that I wanted to get rid of. I suppose I could just remove that one and then place it all back together. So the next issue I want to address is the clipping through of the wooden beams here and also poking out the side. So I've been playing about with a few ideas and right now this is what I've come up with. I quite like the top, but the ends here look a bit lost, so I may play about with that in the future when I sort of decorate everything. But for now, I'm gonna do this over here and also the same on the back, and once I get the windows in I can play about with these bits here. So how I achieve that is quite simply break out the 45-degree beams, placing it directly on top, holding the shift key and just bringing it forward enough to stop it clipping through and making sure that it's as level as it can be just there. Once I've done that, just snap one on, and then for these front bits here, same thing, holding shift, lining it up as best I can and then placing one down. So if I do the same the other side, you're sort of left with this. Now I've then got the wooden beams 26 degrees, and rather than have it sort of square, I've just rotated it slightly just once, and the same with the top piece. And I actually removed that piece there. So again, rather than sort of straight, I've rotated it once, and the same with the top piece. Also, one thing I've done is this cross piece here. I've just removed that and then very awkwardly clipped on a normal piece. I just thought it looked a bit better. Don't quite like these cross pieces. I'm hoping they got sort of a upside down V piece that would fit sort of better there. But yeah, the Hearth and Home update, from what I can tell, it's going to be some roof pieces. So now I'm going to do the same on the back, and then we'll go on to the next issue. So the last fix I have is for the inside. Again, the beams clipping through, poking out the end, and this is what I've come up with. Now it's not perfect, but I think it's okay. It looks a lot better than that, and this is how I've achieved it. So what I want to do is grab my 45-degree wooden beam. Now rather than place it in front or behind, I want to press shift and then making sure it's symmetrical. I want to place it so the bottom corner sits level with this. So it doesn't really matter whereabouts, as long as that there sits on top of that beam. Now if I go back to the 45 degree, holding shift, I want to see where it's snapping left and right, put the cursor right in the corner, connecting to this beam here. I want to place one, but I want to bring it down. Now I want the bottom of this beam that I'm placing to just sink into this beam here. So if you line it up, bring it in slightly, and then just keep moving your cursor down, you can see the bottom just here clips in. That's what we're looking for. We kind of want the edge to line up with this beam, and that's inset just a little bit too much, so let's replace that, because we want things looking symmetrical. So we want it just about there. You can go ahead and remove the top beam, and then we place another 45-degree beam directly on top, just snapping on. And then for the top piece, we want a 26-degree, and just snap that straight on there. If we step back, we can see that that looks pretty symmetrical. There is a few pieces that aren't quite sat in. If I was to extend that one, you'll have some bits poking out, so I think that's more acceptable. Again, it's not perfect, and it's a shame that I have to find little fixes for these things, but you know, that's part and parcel of doing a custom build. So we've got the back wall looking fine on the inside. The front looks pretty good, it's symmetrical. And then we do a quick lap. So again, we've got the roof pieces here. It's yeah, not perfect. I think I need to do something with the bottom pieces here, and then I've done the back as well. I did keep it sort of sunk in like I did with those top pieces. That may change, but you know, so far it's coming along. So I think it's been quite a long episode already, so I think I'm going to end it there. Next episode will be sort of windows. I've got some really good ideas. Again, I'm hoping stability will be okay for this top window here, but you know, you'll have to wait for the next one for that. So thank you very much guys for watching. You know, like if you liked what you've seen, and subscribe if you want to see more and don't want to miss out. And thank you again so much for your support and love. Take care guys, see you in the next one.